But it is this thing where, Rita, all I'm asking for is that, look, I get it. There's lots of jurisdictions. Lots of people have the power to tell us what's going on. But it's too much now. It's too much. Please pare it back to 2 a day, because 15 different people, when you're running a national news organisation like ours, or they do over at Channel 2, or any of those people that are updating the online blogs, and look, the most read story on all of the News Corp sites, 1 through 10. All of the ABC sites, 1 through 20. All of the Channel 9 papers, 1 through 10. All of the Guardian, 1 through 10, is coronavirus, right? So they make the most of these endless updates, but it helps add to to me, a fatigue that is going to kick in earlier than when we're going to actually be fatigued, because inevitably we're going to be forced to stay at home or can't go to work. Can we save that exhaustion for when that happens?
Look, I kind of agree with you, but I also don't, because I think this is something that we haven't seen, certainly in our lifetime, and things are changing so quickly that it would be reckless to not share that information with the public as soon as possible. If you know, we've just in the last hour had the Australian government say to all our citizens around the world, come back home. That was an advice that wasn't there earlier today. So I can understand why we are getting all these messages, and yes, it can be overwhelming for people, but I don't think most people consume media as much as we all do. So they pick and choose what interests them. Obviously, there's still a little bit of misinformation about, and a little bit of hysteria and scaremongering. I mean, this thing is scary enough. You don't need to add anything to it. Just giving us the bare facts and the advice is, I think, what we should be aiming for. So I'm not too fussed about all the advice. I think there is a level of confusion about what is best, because the advice is changing so quickly, and we've seen some countries take a very different approach to what we're doing and what the US is doing, and I think that gives people pause as well, and they're like, well, why are the Netherlands doing herd immunity? What's that about?
But I think, Rita, that is a fantastic point, because I think this is worth talking about, guys, for a second here, which is I think that we can be informed by similar countries around the world, but the idea of they're doing it here, we should do it there. But they do it, just the idea that we should take on every single variable that is happening in the world, or take the most extreme because it achieves, like, we're in a unique position in terms of where we are right now as an island with the lock off of international travel. We also, weather-wise, when we haven't come through a winter, we're going into one. But Gary, I mean, I will say it again, and if we can run the scroll. 7:45, 8:05, 8:15, 9:28, 9:38, 9:52, 11:08, 12:23, 1:30, 1 past 2, 3:51, 4:50, 8 minutes past 5, 55, 5 minutes away from 7, and 7:40. That's how many times, and those are the times when people were talking today, giving us an update. Honestly, 15 updates a day.
Yeah, look, Paul, there's a couple of quick things. One, you know, there's an old marketing maxim that until you've actually got a message out there 7 times, nobody actually knows what the message is. So you've got to say it, say it, say it, and say it, and say it. And I got to tell you, my dad doesn't understand what this social isolation thing is. I mean, since Mum's died, he's been isolating himself anyway. And he said, just go over and see me 90-something mate and drop the lawnmower over. And I said, Dad, you don't get this social isolation thing. Yeah, I suppose you're right. So people don't fully understand it. But, Paul, the other thing is, because of this 24-hour news cycle, because of the mixed messages coming from different jurisdictions, you've got handkerchief-sized countries that have absolutely nothing to do with the way Australia operates. Australia is in a unique position. I think you're 100% right. So the only way to handle that is to slow the message down, which goes, I think, to your essential point.
Correct.
And that is, let's have a regular update, late morning and late afternoon, so that it's accurate and correct, and that people running, you know, the various news services, including Sky, are going to be able to say there will be a further update tomorrow. This is what we know today, slowing the message down, because people are not able to consume this. I mean, even Donald Trump had half heard the word discharged out of a Gold Coast hospital for Tom Hanks and was ready to tweet, "R.I.P. Tom Hanks." I mean, this is how crazy things can get. This is how crazy things can get. Queensland Health stopped him, you know, like a crash tackle, like in the line of fire sort of thing. You know, don't do it. But there's that. So, Paul, I think that's really quite critically important. But there will be plenty of overseas influences on us. I mean, we're now down to maximum crowds of 500. I think it won't be too many days before it's 100, and maybe it'll go to 10 like it is in the US. I don't know what the compulsion about that will be, but that is going to have a major cataclysmic impact on a lot of people's lives. Now, that's not overstating it. That's just simply saying, you know what? We can trust most Australians to do the right thing. They just want to know what the right thing is and not have, you know, new information coming out from would-be politician here and would-be politician there, or
former
leader of the
politician
opposition there, or
Former.
Well, look, I'm a former politician.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm
too,
saying
you know.
I'm talking about Kevin Rudd. I'm trying to get to Kevin Rudd here.
Yeah, Kevin Rudd.
Him.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, seriously, he's only upset because he thinks COVID-19 has stolen his IP on Kevin 07. That's all. That's the thing about Kevin Rudd.
I want everyone around the table and everyone at home to just answer this question to yourself. Do you know what the website is that's the one central website that's supposed to be telling us about coronavirus? No. Nobody does. It is healthgov.gov.au/Novel correct.
Yeah, it's on the ads.
But seriously,
Thank
just
God for you, Paul.
one message. Keep it simple. Make it a special app.
Exactly.
Get one thing, because we can all learn one thing pretty quickly. We can learn one thing. But anyway, let's...
But at the same time, it's not rocket science, is it? I mean, how do you avoid the flu? Well, don't go hugging people. Don't go kissing them.
Well, that's why
don't go hanging out with strangers. You know...
Wash your hands, you know,
yeah,
stuff like that. You know,
a lot of this,
But
all
it's
this is
unnecessary
pretty
to say,
basic.
let's go from 100, let's cut to 50, let's cut to 5. I mean, come on.
Well, there is a bit of chopping and
what does it
changing
mean?
in government and inconsistency. I mean, if it's the rule's 500, why are the universities and TAFE colleges still open?
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to understand some of it, but most people are worried about their own circumstances, their own loved ones, their own family, and in that environment, it's similar to avoiding the winter flu.